We have over 1,000 Pokemon in existence, and every single one of them can be characterized by one or two Pokemon types. You know them: fire, water, grass type. These elements are easy to understand and intrinsic to the Pokemon world. And while we already have 18 types, this franchise historically loves to introduce new types into the mix. So what I want to do today is look towards future Pokemon generations past the 30th year anniversary of the franchise and try to figure out which new Pokemon types could be added to my favorite games. From where I'm sitting, getting a new Pokemon type is an inevitability. That's locked in, but what we don't know is what the type would be that gets introduced. When people wanted the light type, Game Freak gave us Fairy. A lot of people wanted the sound type, and we just might end up with a cosmic type. That's what we're going to talk about today. Welcome back to Hidden Power. This is a Pokemon podcast. My name is DustyGogoat, and today I'm joined by SoulSilverArt.
What's up?
And our other co-host, TraderLumi, is on vacation right now, so he's not with us, but he's enjoying his time. He's out in nature, you know. He's interacting with the real world. He's touching grass. So I wish him the best right now. What we're going to be talking about today are Pokemon types, right? This is something that I think is pretty integral. I mean, it is. I think typing or elements is a pretty standard thing when it comes to RPGs in general, right? The way you characterize anything in a video game is you know, what it is weak against, what it is strong against, right? What are its attributes? And in the Pokemon world, I guess there are a lot of things like abilities. There's the Pokemon moves. You know, there's the natures, right? You also have your EV and IV spread, yada yada yada. But at the top level of it all, it's a Pokemon's type. It's the typing. That is what defines what the Pokemon is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's totally the foundation of everything.
Yeah. And you know, when you select your starter, there's a very clear thing there. You either get a fire type, a water type, or a grass type. But there's so many other types. There are 18 types, 18 Pokemon types. And over the years, right, there have been new ones introduced. Dark type and Steel type were added in Generation 2. And then we got the Fairy type added in Generation 6. What I'm most curious about, and I think what I want to focus on today is, you know, as we move into, I mean, we are returning to Kalos, which is a region that introduced the Fairy typing. That was a decade ago at this point, but, you know, we are going back to Kalos, and as we go into the 30th year anniversary, Generation 10, right? Even if it doesn't happen until Generation 11, I do think it is inevitable that we will get a new Pokemon type. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. I mean, we also got the Stellar type in Gen 9.
We did, yes. which was
not kind of a type, but
yeah, that's weird. Maybe we could talk about that just in
I was saying, when you were thinking about like,
'cause you're right.
Everyone that added someone that like it's kind of like in the official canon now.
It is.
Types.
It's considered a 19th type. It's considered like a brand new type. But it doesn't work like any other type. So let's get into that. We can talk about Stellar in a minute, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if you have any additional thoughts about these typings.
I mean, every time I write them down, I never remember them all. It's crazy.
Yeah,
you know, like just doing like a list of them and like, okay, I'm missing like this many. You know, there's a lot, and that's why a lot of people probably don't want more types. So many people,
people do
are
say
just
that
against it because there's like everything's perfect as it is and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's spicy. Like it's like we're talking about. It's foundational. So if you brought in a new type, it changes the whole game, and it's kind of cool in that way. You know?
Yeah.
I like the idea always.
No, I'm totally with you. Like I do think there is a little bit of that where people are like, I hear that often where people say like we have enough types. I can't even remember the type combinations as is. I can't remember the weaknesses and resistances of the existing types,
which I can't either. but still,
I'm sick in the head and I have memorized all of them.
Really?
I'm a true Pokemon. No, but I forget them sometimes. I
mean that's good. I feel like less of a Pokemon fan all the time when I'm playing the Pokemon games and I'm like, I don't remember what's effective against this or that or that.
Yeah, it's those like trickier types like Dark type or Rock type or whatever.
Yeah.
Listen, but I guess it's like from where I come from, what I'm thinking about, I think Pokemon, obviously, like I said, all Pokemon are defined at a high level by their, obviously their design, but then also their typing. That is like a top level characterization of the Pokemon. And it also explains how the Pokemon, functions in the world, Mm-hmm. But I also think there are some Pokemon that didn't really make a lot of sense until the Fairy type was added, or in another way, there's a lot of Pokemon that probably wouldn't exist if the Dark type wasn't introduced.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there was any retroactive Dark types when that was introduced. Like there were no Gen 1 Pokemon that got an additional Dark typing.
No, but they didn't really fit it.
they did. They did it with the Magnemite gained the Steel typing in Generation 2 from Generation 1. But my point is, I think a Pokemon like Murkrow would have just been normal Flying type,
probably,
or Psychic Flying type or something, if the Dark type didn't exist. And my point is, I want a new type. I want new types because I think there's new Pokemon designs and concepts that just won't be prioritized or are likely not to exist because these attributes aren't setting the template for what a Pokemon design could have, right? Or whatever creature, right? It's like,
yeah, I totally get it.
And we'll get into a bunch of the new ones here, but I think that's my disappointment with the Stellar type,
Yeah.
When we in Generation 9, there was a new type but it's only a new type of Terra type, which is or Terastallization type. So certain Pokemon, or I guess every Pokemon at this point, can become the Terra type of Stellar, which is a little. I guess it could be cool in general. I'm gonna look up right now how the Stellar type functions with other typings.
You're telling me that's a whole other thing. Like we were just talking about, we don't even know. I don't even know how all the types affect each other, and then you throw the Stellar type in there, and it's like a really confusing. Even because it was leaking before the game came out or the DLC, and everyone was so confused on how it worked, and so there was so much misinformation out there. And then when it officially came out, I was just confused completely about how it worked because of this and the preconceived notions of the leaks of it all. And anyway.
It looks like Terastallization, or I'm sorry, the Stellar type has, or it is not very effective. I guess it's just like a standard type. The battle properties is that it's super effective only against other Stellar type, or I guess other terastallized Pokemon.
Yes, I think that's right.
And then it's not very effective against nothing. Nothing is immune to it. Mm-hmm. And so really it does nothing. So to me, I look at this and it feels like a nothing burger.
It kind of was.
It's just nothing. It's literally nothing. Like, what is the Stellar type? How is it characterized? Nothing. And they could have made it interesting. And they could have, in a lot of ways, the Stellar type could have been like the light typing, right?
Yeah.
Refractions of light, right? Or energy, right? Mm-hmm. Or really, I don't know. I think as you can hear, I think I'm a little bit disappointed because the promise, again, of a new type is exciting. I think Stellar would have been so much more interesting.
It really was.
It interacted with other types in a specific way.
We were hype about it, in a lot of ways. We were just this is going to be awesome. It's finally some kind of new type. Even if it was a temporary thing, but it would change. You'd still have weaknesses and strengths and all that. Like
when a Pokemon becomes Terrafire, it has all of the same properties as a Mono Fire type Pokemon. The Stellar type should be something unique that any Pokemon could become, but I think it would have been really cool if... I think it would have been so awesome. This is honestly how it should always work. I think it would have been so cool if Terapagos was, by default, not a normal type, but Terapagos was a Stellar type Pokemon.
Right.
At all times. And honestly, it would still have a lot... it wouldn't be too much different from the normal typing. It would still be... it would still kind of have a lot of... It would be neutral, a lot of... Yeah, it would be neutral in a lot of ways. I guess it wouldn't have the fighting... It would be nothing. It's almost like the mystery... It's almost like the question mark type,
Yeah.
Typeless.
It is kind of like that.
right? It would almost be typeless.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it would be so cool. A really fun theory that we've been playing around with for like over a year is like, I think it would be so great if more legendary Pokemon, certain legendary Pokemon, had a specific original type that's specific to them, right? So Arceus could be typeless. Terapagos could be the stellar type, right? With new properties. Maybe, I don't know, Lugia could be the wind type. And then maybe you have, I don't know, I'm just thinking maybe Ho-Oh is the light type, for example, or the revival type. Like you can make up these, and it's not so much about the typing or like a silly name. It's just about like the Pokemon having unique attributes to, for that legendary, right? To truly make the legendary Pokemon special, that is one way they could go about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'd be genius if they did. I mean, that's why we want a new type, because they could go back and change that stuff and make them really cool. Especially the examples that you gave, Lugia and Ho, because they have nothing.
They have nothing, dude. They have nothing.
They need something.
Yeah. So there's 18 types officially, right? I'll read it for you. I'll read it for the for the listeners, okay?
That sounds good.
We got normal type, fire, water, grass, electric, psychic, ice, dragon, dark, fairy. And so a lot of those, except for normal, were the quote-unquote special types. Back in older Pokemon games, they would pull off of the special attack and special defense stat. But then like the physical types are normal, fighting, flying, poison, ground, rock, bug, ghost, and steel. We also have that stellar type, which is the 19th type technically. And then there's also a lot of like weird typings that are present in the coding. We're not going to talk about those today. Those are things like the bird type in Generation 1, which is kind of a meme. But you also have the question mark type, which I think is just typeless. And there are ways to activate, and this isn't not totally, I mean, I think it's a little relevant, but it's not really like a characterization of a type. I still think Arceus would be pretty cool if like it had the typeless, right? In its base form, and then if you give it a plate, it gets, then it gets a new typing.
Yeah. That would have
just to make it more interesting than normal, because normal is just boring.
More godlike.
So. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But there are ways to activate that typeless in modern games, and one of the ways that I remember is like you give if you have an Arcanine, which is mono fire,
always
the
Arcanine.
move, if you give it the move, what is it, burn up? The effect of that move, it's so powerful. It's like the super strong fire type move, but the next turn, or I guess like once you use the attack, you lose your fire typing, right? So theoretically, I think this also works with Typhlosion, but like theoretically, if there was a Pokemon that could learn that, maybe Hisuian Arcanine, I'm not sure, it would lose the fire type and then gain or maintain its rock typing, but standard.
That's interesting. I don't know if that works.
Yeah, but I don't know if that works either, but standard Arcanine would just lose the fire type, which means it's typeless, which means nothing can attack it. Nothing can attack it for super effective damage, and it's not immune to anything. It's not resistant to anything. It has no interaction with any other type.
He just becomes a dog.
Yeah, literally, or a tiger,
just a
whatever
dog
it is.
Again.
I know. So those are all the types. And on this channel, on this podcast, in the past, we've done a couple deep dive podcasts on some of these specific types. And the thing that we keep discovering in those episodes, which are super fun, is that most types are kind of like all-encompassing of a couple different attributes. So like, for example, what's a good example here? What's a good one? I guess the flying type. Let's start with that. So we did a deep dive on the flying type. And what we found was a good fraction of flying type Pokemon are flying type because they are birds. They're literally, they have wings. They have the physical anatomy.
It's revolutionary.
Right? Yeah, literally. They have the physical anatomy of flight. So that's like a bird. That's a bat, right? Swoobat. and Zubat fall into that category.
Yeah.
Right? Anything that can fly is a flying type. I think there was another thing, but the other glaring, attribute, right, or design element, or I think attribute's a good word. The other attribute that a lot of these flying type Pokemon had was that they basically had full control of the wind, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that makes you think.
Some of them.
Yes. Right. Yeah, but like a large portion of them had maybe weren't able to fly themselves, but were able to control the wind in some way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. So this is why we're doing the podcast today. So what we're gonna do is take a look at 5 new types, probably a couple more that could potentially be added in to basically solidify and make those, for example, flying type Pokemon maybe a little bit more unique, right? Maybe you have a Pokemon like Tornadus that can technically fly, but it's a genie and it has full control of like gale forces. Yeah. Maybe that's just a wind type,
Just the airbenders, We need airbenders.
Yeah. and maybe Lugia is a little bit more interesting. Instead of being psychic flying, the same typing as like Natu, instead it's psychic wind type, which would make it feel honestly a lot more like the a beast of the sea, right?
Yeah,
a sea serpent, a sea dragon.
It feels more elemental.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Flying type.
Hold that thought. We want to thank our sponsors. Lumi, hit it.
Yeah, so we want to thank all of you lovely people out there supporting the show, but we want to give a special named shout out to our mythical tier members: Ryan Amphosinus, Coronet Highlander, Chris, Tyler Low 15, J Moss, Doom Typhlosion, Case, Astro Tempest, Shiny, Sully the Skeleton, Nerdy Seb, Hana's Dad, NMT Arts, Gray Williams, Travis Edwards, Northender, and the Pokey Kiddo 1. We want to give a shout out to our Arceus tier members: SEH Art Gold and Red or Carson K, and a mega evolved shout out to our Game Freak Inc. level members: Young Smokey, Bramtastic, and Camon Dub.
Oh my God!
Yo,
I'm sweating. I'm sweating.
Realist.
That
Me
list
too.
gets.
I gotta catch my breath, man.
I think I've got heartburn. That's how long that list is. You guys are.
The list is more impressive, or Lumi reading it is more impressive.
Yeah, without yawning or like something. Thank you guys for all the continued support.
Thank you so much.
This community gets bigger and bigger, and like we've said from the beginning, we don't have sponsors, and also you guys are the sponsors. This show can only exist because of you guys, right? You guys show up every week. Not only are you listening on Spotify, not only are you watching on YouTube, leaving comments, liking, you've subscribed, but you guys are showing up to donate, to support, to literally fund the existence and the production of this show. We're growing our team. We're hiring editors. We're hiring social media people. We're trying to bring this show to the masses. We're continuing to collaborate with some awesome guests, trying to bring the best Pokemon discussions to you guys. And that's only possible with your funding. So just thank you so much. If you want your name read, you can become a mythical tier channel supporter. Let me show you right here, right on Patreon. The mythical tier supporter, the tier gets you producer credits on the show, and of course you get bragging rights. That's without saying. And then you get everything else that we offer at the $5 tier, which is full access to the secret Discord. We've got so many people, probably like over 200 people, fans of the show, community members, and guests, people that we've had on the show, creators, are also in that Discord. We're always yapping about Pokemon and just whatever we got going on in our real lives. You can talk to us there. Also, within the secret Discord, that's the only way you can actually join the Battle League. Lumi, you want to tell me a little bit about the Battle League?
Yes, so we got gym leaders, we've got an Elite Four, all of which are waiting to take you on. We also do tournaments every so often. We've got a tournament that we're planning to do later on. So yeah, sign up and you can read all about the Battle League and all about the tournaments. They're fun, man. They're fun. I enter them and they're tough too. So if you're thinking, nah, I don't want to play a little easy game where someone's going to use a
It's
Weedle.
tough.
Like, nah, these people, we got a guy, he's an Elite Four member and a gym leader. And you know what? That guy actually competes in tournaments. He has been in a regionals where he day 2'd, you know? So it's tough. It's tough. You think you're good? Come in here and see if you're good.
I really hope Legends EA has some co-op capabilities, because it would be so much fun to actually battle each other in the Discord.
That'd be wild.
In Legends EA. I mean, regardless, we're going to be doing it with Generation 10 next year. So
For sure.
Possibly champions.
Yeah, that is actually true. We will be able to have a Champions League in the Battle League. Also, if you join the secret Discord, we do these call-in shows. Probably, we're actually due for another one, where if you're in the Discord and you're supporting, you can call us. We basically record the podcast live in the Discord, and you can call in and be on the show. And then we publish those later on the podcast, or just, we publish it later on as a podcast. You also get access to a bunch of monthly bonus content. Sometimes that is exclusive interviews. This week's episode is literally a bonus episode with Munching Orange. So if you're enjoying this episode, yeah, dude, hype. There's a whole nother episode available right now on Patreon. Also on if you want to become a YouTube channel member, you can also do that. The prices are the same, and all the perks are also the same. So that's also available to you. But there's probably like 100 hours of bonus content from over the last 2 years. You get access to all of that. If you're doing your morning commute listening to us right now, and you're like, damn, I've already listened to all the public episodes. Well, there's a lot of content you haven't listened to that could get you through another couple months of commutes, of daily commutes or whatever. Or
there's like over 100 hours, man.
There's so much stuff.
Pull it up. That'll get you through work next 100 days.
So much
we're
stuff.
only doing more. So
it's actually insane. Let me pull up right here some of the stuff.
Yeah,
that
like we say
to.
monthly, but to be honest, I feel like we end up actually doing them more than monthly. Like,
yeah, I agree.
We get them out pretty often, honestly.
We get exclusive interviews with our friends Infamous Trainer, Loxton. We got AJ here, Lord Keeper Toby. Here's an episode that's not even public yet, but you'll see this soon. This is with Thatch from the Puckle podcast. We're going to be dropping that very soon. Spoilers. We got so much stuff in here. Yeah, Steve from the PKMN cast. Ron is here. Cup of Fee is here. We've worked with a lot of people over the years. My buddy, my high school friend Matt. I love that. That's great. There's honestly so many people. We haven't had Wolf Click on yet, but maybe one day. Let's see what else. And you get 10% off merch forever. So that's what you get at the $5 tier. $5 gets you into the door. You get access to everything. If you want your name read on the show, the mythical tier right here, $25 a month, gets you all access to that. All of the links are in the description. If you're invested in the show, please invest in the show. We're growing, and we can only do it with your help. What were you saying? So let's start with that. So let's start with that. Let's start with the win type. And in all of these images that we're going to show today are from friend of the podcast, another creator, Adept Sharon. All of these you can find on his DeviantArt, but he's pretty active in a lot of communities. I'm always seeing him leave messages on in Toby's videos, on our videos, on Jake's videos. He's really active, but he's created these awesome infographics for us to take a look at. Soul, are you able to see these?
I'm looking it up myself right now, so
okay.
Yes, I will be.
Here, let me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You can pull it up. So this is this is the first type we're gonna look at, the win type. So the win type, like we said, I guess there's a actually this is pretty cool. There's a lot of moves that already feel like they are more wind elementals rather than the flying type. Basically, Sharon is thinking that the wind type is weak to flying type because flying type Pokemon have control over the wind. So that's kind of interesting. The wind type would be strong against. I'm sorry, this is weak to. The wind type is weak to dragons, and the wind type is weak to psychic.
Yeah,
interesting.
I'm sure that Sharon did these on purpose to balance. You know what I mean?
A little bit, yeah.
So a lot of it will have to do with balance and not just like what exactly makes sense. Because to me, I would probably do like the opposite on a few of them.
I think it could kind of make sense because like the psychic, if psychic, like I'm thinking of telekinesis where you're like resistant to gravity, but you can also be resistant to, wind. Like you could just hold something in place almost, right? Like or have the psychic ability to hold yourself, right?
Yeah, but so for like flying types, I feel the strongest about is that the wind
dictates
moves where you're flying. So I feel like it would be the opposite in this respect.
That makes sense. It says wind Pokemon resist ice because winds get pretty cold. It resists water because again wind can I feel like wind can control water in some ways, right? Wind resists ghost. It resists fire. It resists ground.
Yeah, none of those
that makes sense.
Affect it. So.
Yeah, probably that could be it. It says wind types are super effective against water. It's super effective against ghost, fire, and bug type. The bug type makes sense.
Yeah, but that's the same reason for the flying type for me.
Yeah,
it's like the wind would really mess with some bugs because they're flying in it.
They're just gonna get destroyed.
Yeah, and if it's really strong winds, that would happen to birds.
That's a good point. No, that's a good point. And then wind moves are not very effective against ice, dragon. Cosmic is another type we're going to take a look at today that doesn't technically exist. It's not very effective against flying and grass, ground, and I think that's rock.
Yeah.
And then there's so many moves, and we're going to talk about the Pokemon in a second, but there's so many moves. You get the wind moves, Gust, Air Cutter, Air Slash, Twister, which is cool because that's a dragon type move right now. Razor Wind, Hurricane, Aero Blast, which is the signature move of Lugia. Like there's so many cool moves like that could be wind type. And to me, it would have to do with obviously like think of an airbender. Anything an airbender could do, is what a wind type Pokemon could do. And maybe it actually has more to do with gravity. Actually, gravity's different, obviously, but it's like it. Yeah. So this is cool. So the Pokemon that we'd be taking a look at that could potentially gain a wind typing, and this is kind of tricky because like some Pokemon would have to like if they're already dual type, they would have to like lose an existing type in order to gain that new wind type, right?
If it was Game Freak doing it, they would be very sparing, I think, with that.
Yeah,
I don't think they like to change already existing ones. So like for Clefairy and Clefable, like they were normal types and then they became normal fairy, I think or just fairy. They actually swapped them, so that's probably a bad example. I forget which one. I think it's Jigglypuff is the one that is just it was normal and now they just added the fairy type to it. Anyway, so
okay, let's take a look at this list here. All right, potential wind type candidates. We could get a new Eevee evolution with the new wind type. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer with a lot of these, right? We did actually like a full breakdown on Eevee. We did a full breakdown a podcast on Eevee a couple months ago, and 100%. If we get a new type, we would likely get a new Eevee. That makes sense.
Any of these new types, everyone gets an evolution. So
I guess I almost want to. I could see someone leaving a comment saying Steel type was added, and we never got a Steel type Eevee. So I guess it's not guaranteed, but I think in this day and age, we would get one.
Yeah,
that would be a missed opportunity.
Either. I don't think it's guaranteed, but yeah.
Okay. I feel like at this point it's guaranteed, but I do think maybe we shouldn't look at the track record. I think I would only look at Sylveon as an example, but all right, new evolution. The cast form line would get the wind type. It would exchange its normal type for the wind type. And I guess that kind of makes sense. I mean, cast form's based on weather, and I feel like there's always I don't know, maybe what I would do is just have cast form get a new wind element or like if someone uses Tailwind, if Tailwind is activated, maybe it gets a new form or something. But I can see it. Maybe the wind type is like atmosphere, in which case then that would make sense.
Yeah, I can see it.
Because I guess another thing, like these Pokemon types are, like the grass type. It's called grass, but I don't even think we have a single grass type or a grass Pokemon. You mean
like a blade of grass Pokemon?
We don't have a blade of grass Pokemon. Like grass is just like an easy. It's a way to imagine what the type would be without actually being the type, right? Instead of it being like plant, instead of it being like the fauna type, they're like, let's just call it grass. People know what grass is, you know.
Listen, it was a long time ago when they named it the grass type.
But even fairy, like we did a deep dive on fairy type, and fairy is categorized by literal fairies, but there's different types of fairies that take inspiration. But also it tends to represent the moon. It tends to represent a lot of angels, right?
I mean, we're not there yet, but I actually hate like the whole like fairy type is the light type thing. Because a lot of people say that, and I'm like,
they do say that.
Yeah,
it's not really at all.
It kind of is, but like light magic, I guess. And it bugs me because I don't want it. I want it to just be fairies. You know what I mean? But that's how my mind works. I don't know. That people spread it as far as they can. I'm like stretch as hard as they can.
Yeah. All right, let's go through this list. We're gonna take too much time on this. I'm also picking up here that like the wind type in this list could represent speed, right? The speed ability of a Pokemon, because I'm seeing a lot of Pokemon that like are so fast because of maybe the wind.
Yeah, I mean, what's his name? Oh my gosh, not Koraidon. Cyclozar being a wind type is very odd to me. I could see
maybe it's because it goes so fast that like it's able to like avoid the wind. Like a car is aerodynamic. So anything that's aerodynamic would be maybe the wind type. Yeah. If you think about it like that.
Yeah, obviously these are, a fan-made creation, and I respect it so much because like it's like his fan canon, and I love that.
But we're not going to agree with all of these.
No,
Sharon,
not at
if you're watching.
But I love that he created it. Like I would do something like this as well and just have fun with it. So
totally. All right, no, it totally is. I would love to do one of these for like hidden power, Yeah, do like our own version of it.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Actually, that's the video we got to do. We got to take every single Pokemon and make a tier list. Each tier is a different type.
Oh my god!
And just no, that's crazy. All right, so the Drifloon line, they're blimps, so they would become wind and ghost type. They would lose the flying type. You've got Altaria in that line. They would become wind. And what is that? I think that's a new type. Maybe they added a new type. So they added right here. They added the sound type onto these Pokemon, which is kind of weird because it strips it from the dragon type, which I think is kind of nice on Altaria. But I think the sound type, I think the wind type makes sense. You got Tornadus, of course, is wind, and then you got Shiftry being wind and dark type, which is cool. This Pokemon is based on a Japanese spirit that uses literally the wind. Like, and I think it's in its dex description. It claps its leaf hands, right?
I think it has a wind ability. Oh my gosh, I forget the name of it, but it's like a really good like air flying wind ability.
Sure. But it's a cool Pokemon. I could definitely see it with the wind type. Lugia, of course, has the wind type. It's wind. They changed it to Wind Dragon. No, that's not true. They changed it to Wind and Water. Yeah. Which I do like that a lot. Yeah. That would be really cool for Lugia.
Lugia is an interesting one because it could just go so many ways.
It really could.
Really, yeah.
It could be psychic. I mean, it is psychic type, but yeah,
it should be psychic type.
It could be dragon type. Yeah,
Yep.
So cool. Drampa would be wind and dragon, which I think has to do with its like berserker form, and it's already a Pokemon that like flies, so like that makes sense to me. Yeah. I think it creates hurricanes is kind of what the idea is. Cyclozar, wind and dragon. I think that's because of the aerodynamics. You got Latios and Latias being wind and psychic. That's fine. I like them as dragons, but that's fine. Doduo, Dodrio, wind and flying type. I don't know if I like that because I don't know if I like that. I would give it a ground typing. Ground flying would be way more interesting, considering it's always in the ground.
The common like deal with them is that they are like flightless birds, so like why do they even have the flying type in the first place? You've seen the meme where it's like flying with the two heads.
The two heads are the
wings for Dodrio.
All right, so I'm just gonna start rattling these off. We got Enamorus, which is probably similar to Tornadus. The Togepi line, I get that makes sense. Flying type is also fine though for them because they have wings.
Yes.
You got the fairy Pokemon Spritzee in its evolution. What is it?
Comfey.
Yeah, Comfey. You got Galarian Weezing. That one makes sense. The Smokestacks.
Yeah.
I can see it. Coughing now gets the dual type wind, because again it's poison air, right? That's its whole thing. So I actually do like that a lot, because Coughing and Wheezing are just so like boring as monotype, and because they float, I'm like, yeah, give them the wind type. That's fine.
That would make some sense, yeah.
Blowing Smog, like that's cool. We got Thundurus, we got Landorus. That's just switching up their flying type for wind. Then you got Raikou, and we also have Zeraora. And I can see that. Right?
It doesn't make much sense, but I love it.
Well, the Raikou is like it's like thunderclouds.
Yeah.
Thunderstorms. So it's almost like the wind type is like the weather type.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe.
Yeah.
From this.
You got Rotom, the Rotom fan. Wow, another electric wind type Pokemon, which would be Electrike. Yeah, I guess I don't really like that if it's just running fast. Like, that's kind of silly.
Yeah.
It kind of trivializes the type a bit.
Yeah, I mean, he was very, generous with giving all of these, like, wind type. I would definitely cut a whole bunch of them, just because you wouldn't need to give it to so many as well. You know what I mean?
I don't think you need to. I think you should definitely give it to some old ones.
Yeah, there wouldn't be like this gigantic overhaul like this.
Yeah,
like, this is huge.
But they gotta add new ones, you know.
Yeah, there would be new Pokemon that would have it as well.
All right, so a Selgor, we got the Dunsparce.
I like the Dunsparce for flying. To be honest, it would be make a little more sense to me, but it should have it.
But Mastery of the Wind, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, no.
The ground type would be cooler. Entei and Suicune are also here. Arcanine's here. Arcanine kind of makes sense to me because of how fast it is. It learns extreme speed.
Its name in Japanese is literally Windy.
Yeah, that's okay. Perfect.
So
that is so cool. Then Fire Wind type would be sick. We got the Ponytail line, Raboot line. Again, speed is what I'm picking up here. There's the Paradox Pokemon Iron Moth.
I don't see that one too much, but it's better than Poison, I think.
It is.
Because Poison doesn't make sense.
Poison's so random. I mean, I kind of see it, but yeah, it is pretty random. Chimecho, Noivern, Poltergeist, Dragonite is pretty sick here. Gyarados as well. Those are two flying type Pokemon that, like, I mean, obviously Dragonite can fly, but like, it's a dragon. Give it, like, the wind type would be epic, you know, just to make it a little bit more unique. I'm seeing, and then same thing with Dragonite, with Gyarados. Gyarados can fly, but it's like, you know, like, it doesn't have flames.
Gyarados for me makes more sense than Dragonite. Dragonite, sure. I could see staying flying, but Gyarados being wind type is like, it flies because of that kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. So. And because of its inspiration being like one of those like paper, Chinese dragons that are used in like ceremonies, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We get the Vanillish line here. Again, kind of weather is what I'm seeing. Hailing, blizzards, that makes sense. Sneasel's here, I think, for speed. The Espathra line is here. I don't see that at all. I don't really know why they would have that. Maybe speed, but it's not that fast.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. It doesn't really make much sense.
I agree. Mesprit is here. I don't know why. Deoxys is here. Maybe, but maybe because of like space atmosphere. That's kind of cool. I don't think we need it. What is it called? There's that weird guy. Sigilif is here.
Sigilif, yeah.
What about Pidgeot?
I could see this. Like flying wind.
Maybe it evolves from flying normal into flying wind when it evolves. That would make it cool.
Yeah, it would spice it out.
Yeah, we got a lot of bugs here. Yeah,
I was just gonna say about all the little grass guys. Wind makes a lot of sense, especially for both lines, for Hoppip and Glossifleur line. Eldegoss line. I think they make a lot of sense. And then the bugs too. There's so many of them. So
there's a lot of bugs here. We got the Hoppip line. All of the butterfly Pokemon. Just give it the wind type. Obviously they are flying type, but I think the flying and the bug type just feel so cheap or trivial in the grand scheme of things. I think there's some types like bug or flying that feel like attributes more than elemental types. And the wind type is really cool for that reason. Like if we were to split those types up and these Pokemon get the wind type, like now all of a sudden your late game Beautifly is, your late game Beautifly is like, it's a monster. It's powerful, you know?
I mean, it does depend how good the typing actually is though too. You know, because bug type is a type. I love it personally, but it's not the strongest type. So, you know, how strong would wind type be is the question.
Yeah. I mean, it's good against water. It's good against fire. So a lot of these Pokemon now have like almost like immunities to the fire type, right? Mm-hmm. Like your Caterpie's weak to fire until you evolve it. Then it's like, oh, now you can actually you're not going to get one shot by all these things.
Yeah. Suck on this.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. And then you got Vespiquen, Scyther, which honestly is cool.
Yeah.
Because Scyther can fly, but it's like its typing is the same as Butterfree. I'm like, that sucks. Scyther is so strong.
Yeah. It's a very overused like bug flying, so I feel like that has a lot to do with people's disdain for it. That's why I'm like, if you added this wind type to this many Pokemon, you might feel like, oh wow, all these bugs are bug wind now.
Yeah.
You know
Which
what I mean?
makes them feel strong and desirable.
For right now it does, but in the years you'd be like, this many bug wind types, you'd be like, okay, there's too many bug wind types.
Sure. And we feel that same way right now about like the flying type, but
yeah, exactly.
And then you got
normal flying. Bug flying.
No, I get you. Even bug poison, I hate that.
Yeah, because he's seen it too much.
Yeah.
It's not bad typing though.
No, it's not bad at all. Another really popular type, other than wind, is the sound type. This is and this is a type that I feel like keeps coming back because it's so integrated with like abilities and moves, and because sound type or the sound, I guess the sound effect, like what would you call it? Like sound is already kind of a thing within the battle mechanics of Pokemon. Yeah. But it's not a full-on type, right?
Yes. And that's why it should be its own at this point. They are like verging on making it real. You know, like it's right there. It's right there.
It really is.
I've said it multiple times. Like we've done an episode similar to this, and the sound type is the next type. Like it should be the next type that comes out. Even the stellar type, I was like, it should be like something related to sound type. You know? It never was going to be, but anyway.
No, totally. So so the sound type is it's super effective against fighting, psychic, steel, and electricity, and it is resistant against poison, water, bug, and electric. And then there's a lot of types that resist sound type. Moves like Sonic Boom, Uproar, Snarl, Boom Burst, Hyper Voice, Relic Song, Drum Beating.
There's so many already.
Torch Song,
they should
Roar.
Just exist.
Oh my gosh. Howl, Sing, Growl. Those are like OG ones. Mm-hmm. So obviously you get a new evolution with the sound type. Whismur line, of course, no brainer with the sound type.
Yep.
And this list is a lot shorter as well. So we got the Chimecho line gets the sound type. Noivern gets the sound type. Jigglypuff would also get a new typing with the sound type to go alongside its Generation 6 revision of getting the fairy type. So that's kind of cool.
See, these all make perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because there's so many Pokemon that are sound type coded already.
Yeah.
And it just should happen.
No, yeah. The more I look at this, the more I think like maybe, that the previous wind type Pokemon list had just maybe too many additions to it. Like this list could be thinned out quite a bit, I would think. Mm-hmm. You know? Oh, here's better. We can make this a little bit bigger for viewers. So we got Audino, which again makes sense. Audino literally has audio in its name. It's
stethoscope, I think is what it's called.
I think it's a little bit of a stethoscope. It's used like that, but I think it actually is a cochlear implant, which is
yeah.
Do you see that? Which is like a medical device to allow. I don't know if it like is full hearing, but it gives deaf people the ability to hear, at least partially hear. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure I took like ALS in high school, so just like all those classes and like, just like, I don't know, I feel like I remember some stuff from that.
That's
and
probably
the
why you think
imagery
of
of
it,
the
though.
cochlear
Yeah.
implant is what I'm seeing, because it's like, I think it curls down and like attaches to your neck or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that makes sense to me. It's fair, and it's funny. Sharon actually retyped it as a fairy type regardless, even though it's normal type. So you got Chatot, you got Swoobat line, you got the Mythicals, Meloetta, you got Screamtail. All of these make sense. Then you got the Lit Leo line in both Pyroars, which I think makes sense. They're lions.
Yeah,
they roar. That makes sense.
I wouldn't do it, but yeah. I think them being normal is fine, just because they're so normal lions with fire.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
We've got
These two for sure.
Yeah, what are they called? Toxtricity.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is cool. I don't know if I love this, but Sharon also made each form have a different type. One has poison, and then one has electric. That's.
I like it because of the colors. It makes sense to me.
Sure, I see that.
The whole blue, but I mean,
the Loki form is poison.
The Loki wouldn't be electric, which is weird, but
yeah. But that's cool. They both make sense to have the sound type. Ludicolo gets the sound type. That makes sense.
Yep.
Picky Peck, that whole line gets the sound type, which I think has to do with like the fact that it's a woodpecker and they're always making noise.
It's true. They make a lot of noise.
They do make a lot of noise.
I don't know about the toucan, but
yeah. And I know I would give it the fire type, to be honest.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
So you got Squawkabilly's here, immediately more interesting than just normal flying. Absolutely. You got like I said, you got the Swablu line here. Tandem Mouse is kind of interesting. What do you think about that?
I think they put it here because it like yells. You know, like the animation when it doesn't move. It,
sure.
like,
yeah.
Does like that.
Yes.
But I think that's the only reason it's here, to be honest.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then you got Vibrava is here, and this is so bizarre. I mean, no shade, Sharon, but you had like Flygon's not on this list. I'm like, if you're gonna give the type, like it does make sense for Vibrava, but I don't know, unless you would also in this, headcanon increase the stats of Vibrava. I don't know. I feel like
maybe Sharon's just a Vibrava stan. Like I love Vibrava so much. So
because Trapinch doesn't even have this typing.
Yeah,
but that's cool. I mean, it makes sense. It's a good Pokemon.
There's probably a reason. If we know him, he's got a reason for it.
He's got a reason. Zigzagoon, the Galarian form is here, which makes sense. It's a rock and it's a rock and roll thing. You got Beldum, not Beldum. Bronzong.
Yeah.
It's a bell. That makes sense. We got Misdreavus and Mismagus, and that makes sense. Like a shrieking ghost.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like, what are they called? Oh my gosh, a banshee kind of thing. Could make sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And we got Azelf. Yeah. Skeledirge is here. I'd love to see that. Fire sound type for Skeledirge.
It's a hard one, though. It's a hard one because the ghost type makes a lot of sense, too. So
it does, yeah. And it needs the fire type because it's a starter.
Right. There's a lot of them where it's like you could really have 3 types on some Pokemon.
Yeah.
They're just they have multiple inspirations. That would make sense. But that's the name of the game. Like, you have to make those decisions.
Yeah. Some more Pokemon that would get the sound type would be the what is this thing called?
Como.
Yeah, Komo-o. You also have, and that makes sense with the jangling scales.
It's better than fighting for sure.
Yeah.
It makes way more sense. The whole thing looks like just a bunch of clanging cymbals.
Yeah. So. And I think that they use the fighting type as a stand-in for that. And that's the thing with the sound type. The sound type's just like,
constantly put to the side.
Yeah, it's like it could be its own type. Like every single one of these Pokemon has sound within its design. It's just not represented by that sound. They have to pick something else to represent it. Like this next one, Time Pole, and that whole line are water ground, and the ground represents vibrations or earthquakes, which represents sound. Like its sound creates the,
Honestly,
the vibrations.
I might be so wrong about the sound type. Like maybe Game Freak will never do it because they literally are avoiding it as much as they possibly can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like what you just said. Like we're gonna get to Primarina and we already had Skeledirge and all of these Pokemon that are sound based. And like, why isn't there a sound type already?
Yeah, and it's maybe because like maybe Game Freak's like we can't because it's sound. We can't physically represent it or visually represent it. And every single one of these things, instead of like making sound the focus, they use sound as an accent or like a byproduct of another type. So like I said, Seismitoad, it shakes its body to uses sound and vibration, which then is exemplified by earthquakes, which is definitely like more, obviously you can visualize that. And that's like an elemental type for this Pokemon, right? For this monster.
Right.
So like any single one of these Pokemon has control of sound or uses sound, but it's like it's characterized by maybe a more obvious typing, like fire or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So we got Politoed, Lapras, right? Parish Song. I think it makes sense. It's always singing.
I would say it should be the Gigantamax that gets sound, but yes.
Cool. Yeah, I can see that. I guess Lapras is losing its ice type here, which is fine.
Yeah, I don't even know why it is ice type in the first place.
Yeah. Just to make it more powerful against dragons. Primarina, like you said, is here. Rillaboom is here. So we actually have a starter trio of sound type Pokemon.
Sound starters. We have them. They exist. Like literally.
Skeledirge sings, Primarina sings, and Rillaboom uses its drums.
Bro, how about this as like one of the future Legends games trios, and what they do is they add the sound type to them.
Good, man.
So like it's like Pokemon Legends Galar, or maybe I don't know, whatever, and they add that the sound type is like the gimmick for it, and you get sound type for Skeledirge, Primarina, and Rillaboom as your starters.
I love that so much, man. Yeah, like what's a region that I guess Galar actually would make sense because.
The only problem is like the Grookey's from there, but what does it matter at this point?
Oh no, it doesn't matter. Well, I guess Pokemon Legends Unova, and it's about like rock and roll coming from Galar to the United States.
Bro, yes,
That's
go.
That's so sick. We gotta make that. We gotta make that a thing.
Yeah.
Yanma's here as well. Again, vibrations, sound. Cricketot's here. Hate it. Voltorb's here. That makes sense. Electric sound. And then you got Boltund here as well with electric sound type.
This one doesn't make too much sense, but
it's a dog. It barks
or something.
It barks.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it's like sound. Yeah, sound type makes sense.
Sound type makes a lot of sense.
Totally. We got another type here that's super common, or at least I think it used to be really common, but maybe not so much anymore. And this is not from Sharon, but this is the light type. This is from RZGmon 200. This was posted in 2017, but the light type, right?
Yeah.
So, again, I don't know. So, how would you characterize the light type?
I mean, I think right after sound, like it's the next most viable type. I kind of hate when people are like, there should never be one. It's like I just said about the fairy type.
Yeah.
I would literally characterize it as literal light. But also, like, it could be goodness. See, like, people see a lot of fairy type as, like, the goodness type or, like, the...
But that's not light.
The good type is fairy, but there's tons of fairies that are, like...
Evil.
Yeah.
You got Impidimp. What is it called? Well, I guess that's Grimmsnarl. It's the same line.
Yeah.
Granbull could be characterized like that. Yeah. Mimikyu is pretty mischievous.
Like, even... here, like, there's plenty that you could relate to. Anything related to the sun, even, you know, because it's just from light.
Well, that's what I think about light. To me, light type is not... You're right. I think back in the day, people were like, the light type is like the angel type, right? And I do think those parts were added to the fairy typing, right? Those are attributes that are represented by fairy type. But the way I'm looking at light in 2025 is if this was added, it really is just it's literal lighting. It's right, Necrozma, the the Prism
that would be
light
the poster
Pokemon.
child.
Yes,
Yeah.
would have the light type. That makes sense to me. Solar energy. I'm thinking about the refraction of light, creation of light. So there's a small list of Pokemon here that absolutely
There's way more.
Could be characterized by the light type.
Yes, there's way more that we could do too. And I really liked your idea earlier that we should just do our own versions of these.
Yeah.
That'd be really
that'd
fun.
Be fun.
And yeah, like there's so many ways to involve light, like a light spectrum in Pokemon. So
yeah. So okay, so the short list is we got Ponyta and Rapidash. Right off the bat, I don't even see it. I think it's like Ponyta and Rapidash need a new typing. I don't know if light type, wind type would be cool. Yeah, but then second is Ampharos, and obviously it creates light at the end of its tail.
It's kind of like I don't think Pokemon.
What is it?
It's kind of like a lighthouse Pokemon.
It is, yeah. And I think visually the light type right here being so yellow next to the yellow electric type, maybe you're like, well, those are the same things, but electricity is so different.
Very different.
Yeah, so different. But yeah, Ampharos definitely makes sense and would make that line a little bit more interesting. I think the dragon type could be cool in Ampharos as well.
Yeah.
We got now forgetting these names right on the spot because I'm tired. Yeah. Sunkern and Sunflora. Obviously, it's a sunflower. It gets its energy from the sun. So that makes sense.
Yeah, this one is a perfect example.
It's the embodiment of light type because it absorbs light, right? Not because it creates it.
You wouldn't give this the fairy type, you know? That's a different thing.
You wouldn't, no.
The same for the next two.
Yeah, then you got Volbeat and Illumise and bug light type. That's cool. They're fireflies. Like, that's cool. Yeah. I can totally get on board. And I think another thing about these typings is it makes the Pokemon more interesting. There's a lot of Pokemon on all these lists that are just monotype, and it's so boring. Like, in a playthrough, you're like, why would I use this Pokemon ever when I could just use my starter, right? If it's the same type. But you give a Pokemon like Sunkern a new typing. Sure, maybe it's a little bit weaker, but now it has access to new moves. It has a different set of resistances, right? So I think that's why, a lot of these Pokemon aren't that interesting, but they would find a niche within a game, right? Within these Pokemon games, within the Pokemon world, with these additional typings. So we have Cherubi, or I'm sorry, Cherim is here. The sun form, which again,
makes
it's like
so much sense.
Yeah, it comes alive because of the sunlight.
And they're saying just this form would get it, which would be perfect. Where it just like opens up and it gets the light type.
Absolutely. Lumineon is here, water light type. I think this is kind of similar, where I think actually it's supposed to glow. I think its dex says that these Pokemon glow.
Its name is Lumineon, like it's like Luminate.
Sure. Shout out to Lumineon's post.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't give it to Finneon, but then when it evolves, I would give it to Lumineon.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like it starts to glow when it. Evolves.
And this is listen. Talk about a fish Pokemon. It separates her from Seeking. It gives you a reason to use it over your starter.
It makes it so much better. So much better to me. Yeah.
We got Cresselia here, light and psychic type. That's cool. What is it now? Is it just psychic?
I think
Yeah, kind of boring.
Yeah,
Watchog is here. Shout out to Gassy Watchog.
I don't see Watchog, but yes, sure.
I think it has like X-ray vision, maybe, or maybe I think it glows to imitate reflective gear, like construction gear or something.
Yeah, like the people that do public crossing, they wear like the that stuff so you can see
the reflective wear when like for absolutely, just to keep themselves safe. We got Zebstrika here, which
I can see it.
I could see it, but I don't know if it's my first pick.
It's not too strong.
So light electric type. Yeah.
Just because it's just electric, so it would make sense to spice it up.
Yeah. But even like a zebra is like quick. Like maybe it does need the wind type. So we got and then two more or three more here. We got the Gigalith line rock light, and that's because it like creates light or has light within its body that it's always spreading. It's like a geode, right? So it has like fraction or fragments of light within it.
It could also like refract. I think refract.
Yeah, refract.
I can't say that. Anyway, yeah. The Heliolisk, the next one.
Yep.
100%
makes sense. This thing already has the neck frill, and it gets energy. It gets its energy by the sun. It's kind of interesting that it's even an electric type. Like, I wonder if maybe there was like a beta version of this Pokemon that was like fire type, you know? Because if it runs off of solar, well, actually, I guess that makes sense if it's electricity. It's solar. It's converting solar power, right, into electricity. So that does make sense. Helioptile evolves with the Sunstone, so that makes sense.
Yeah, it's so perfect.
Then you got day form Lycanroc.
Yeah,
which,
I
again,
don't know if I'd do
kind of
that.
cool.
Maybe Dusk, but I think I would do it for Dusk. I think it's still just rock, Dusk Lycanroc.
Yeah,
just pure rock, isn't it?
Doesn't? Oh yeah, no, you're right. None of the Lycanrocs get a new typing.
No, they're just pure rock, all of them, and it's really weird.
Well, then the day form makes sense then.
Yeah,
it's
because
daylight.
it is day, but it is also the most just like
Normal.
plain. Like, I couldn't see it. It doesn't look elemental. It just looks like rock and normal.
Sure. Yeah. Maybe that's what it would be.
Like, the dusk is like really affected by light and gives like a whole sunset vibe to it. I would give that to the dusk one.
So next up is Cosmic, but before that, I want to show you guys our collection, our merch collection, Legendary Aura. This is all about feeling like the main character in your Kalos playthrough of Pokemon Legends ZA. This is all available at shop.hiddenpowerpodcast.com. We have so much custom merch. A lot of this stuff is embroidered. It's all designed in-house by our designer Noivi. He totally crushes it. And we got all these awesome starter Pokemon designs, ball caps, t-shirts, hoodies. We also have some really cool merch depicting the likeness of Zygarde. This is one of our best sellers right here, the Zygarde Legendary Aura T. Here's the so sick. Soul's got one of these, I think. Do you have it in your room right now?
It's behind me. It's supposed to like kind of show, but it's.
Can you grab it?
Yeah,
can you grab it and show it online? Yep. And I'll keep yapping.
All right, go for it.
This design is so cool. It's got the imagery of Zygarde. It's got there's some. It reminds me of like those like it reminds me of like Fallout when you are, cracking into a database, right? So you can see all the little browser pop-up tabs are there. You can see the imagery of there's a target of the Kalos region. Right behind that tab there is I think it's Necrozma, right? There's maybe we've had a lot of theories combining Zygarde and Necrozma with the Lumiose Tower. So like so that's there. This is one of our best sellers, and on the front you can see Zygarde's glare right there.
Unfortunately for me on this podcast, I can't wear it because all you would see is this. Instead, I was thinking about wearing it backwards just so like you guys can see.
Ooh, that's cool. That's cool.
Big front or back of it.
Yeah. This. But the merch is such high quality. We get everything through Fourth Wall. And but there's even more. I mean, if you like the original Kalos starters, we got designs for that. We got designs for just Kalos Pokemon in general. Where is it? Right here. Yeah, right here. We get a bunch of really cool, just black and white designs on the front. If you get a design where the shirt, where the Hidden Power typography is in the middle of the shirt, it will be embroidered. Which is actually, I didn't even realize. I'm wearing that right now. I'm wearing that right now. I got the merch on right now, and this is the back of it right here. So
yeah, I love it.
This stuff is so comfortable. If you want to get anything, if you want to support the show, right? If you're listening to this and you want to support the show, right in the description, you can go to shop.hiddenpowerpodcast.com. Get yourself something. Get your friends something. And you're going to be supporting the show that way, and you're going to be able to get something for yourself as well. Also, if you are a member, if you are a Patreon or YouTube channel member, you get 10% off anything you order on the store as well. So thank you so much, and let's talk about the Cosmic type, which is another type that a lot of people are always saying needs to exist. And this is another type that I'm pretty on board with. I think there's a lot of mysterious Pokemon. There's a lot of mysterious things in the world. Like I feel like there's been, I think a lot of games have alluded to pretty much this is what it is. Alien Pokemon should be Cosmic type. Pokemon from other dimensions, other timelines could be the Cosmic type, right? Things that can't be explained, antimatter, could be the Cosmic type. I think that all makes sense to me. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I feel like there's less of a need for it if we had the Light type, because you could you could stretch the light type a little bit to be here, but
Yeah.
there are Pokemon from space and like literal alien Pokemon. And I think all of them could be considered cosmic type. So it would be less cosmic types than most, you know? But I just don't see it as like the next thing that's needed so badly to be a type. You know what I mean? I would love to have it as an extra type, 100%. But
I think there was kind of a missed opportunity in Alola for them not to add the cosmic type, because I think a lot of Ultra Beasts.
Right. Yeah, all the Ultra Beasts could have been it.
Yeah. My big theory when the Ultra Beasts were announced were that I thought each Ultra Beast would have an ability that bends the type the type interactions, right? So all of a sudden, I don't know, if there's a grass type one and use a fire type move on it, it would do something different because of its ability. Mm-hmm. And that would basically represent, because these Pokemon are from another dimension, right? They're from ultra space.
Yeah.
These Pokemon basically don't, they're not limited. How would I say it? Yeah, these Pokemon, these Ultra Beasts would, yeah. Well, I guess I'm thinking about like the laws of physics, right?
Yeah.
Like Ultra Beasts would function not by our laws of physics, which is the Pokemon types that we know, but instead they would, they would bend it to their own existence, and we would be able to experience a little bit what, you know, life on their planet would be through these typings. That's what I always imagined.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, and I think.
I mean, I like the idea for sure.
Yeah,
I'm all for more and more and more types. So I'm down for this. I wouldn't put Necrozma in it though. I would put Necrozma in the light type.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it could. I could see it. Don't get me wrong.
I think so. I mean, it could have light and cosmic type if it's going to be a thing, you know. But I guess Dragon's pretty cool too.
Yeah, I needed to have Dragon. Maybe the other forms, you know, because the other forms are kind of boring to me, to be honest.
I tend to actually like both of those forms pretty cool. I think it would be nice to see like Necrozma fuse with other legendaries as well. Mm-hmm. You know,
it's interesting because like of Solgaleo and Lunala, we'd have to get into it like on our own kind of thing, but like I just feel like you know, Solgaleo having steel, I know there's a reason for it, like the whole alchemy reason, but it'd be cool if it was like, you know, or not even steel, psychic, sorry. It'd be cosmic and steel, like it says here.
Yeah.
Like, cosmic would work really well for it. But also light would work really well for these guys. They're literally, as the fans call them, the light trio.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
The light trio legendaries. So.
No, that makes total sense, because actually what this should be is like, all right, so Cosmog is cosmic type. That's what it is. Cosmog and all of its evolutions are part cosmic type, but Necrozma in all of its different forms are light type. So you have Cosmog, Cosmoem, just cosmic. It evolves into Solgaleo, which is cosmic steel, like you're saying, and then Lunala becomes cosmic and ghost type, which is pretty much what we already see, except for the cosmic exchange. But then when Necrozma fuses with both of those Pokemon, now each of those Pokemon get a new typing, which just make it more interesting. So now there's a reason to either use base Solgaleo versus its fusion form with Necrozma, right? Again, I'm always just vying for like variety here. You know, I think the types are so special in that way. And then of course you get Necrozma, its ultra form. Here it says cosmic. I guess I'm kind of with you, Soul. I think it does make sense for it to be light type. So light dragon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think makes the most sense for me personally.
Yeah,
but I could see this world too. You know, it's either or.
Yeah. Let's see here. So there's so many like I'm gonna just list off all the. Bless you. I'm gonna list off all of the extraterrestrial Pokemon. Okay, so we got Lunatone, Solrock, Meteor, Sigilif is here, Clefairy is here. Totally makes sense to me. Clefairy is from the moon, so that makes sense. You get LGM and BEM. The whole Deoxys line makes sense. You got the legendary Pokemon, Cresselia, and then you also have Uxie. Jirachi is here as a psychic cosmic. Again, makes sense to me. Darkrai could be cool. It's not really space travel or whatever, but it is. I guess the cosmic type is that. Yeah, they're it's still legendary, and that's actually kind of cool because actually Cresselia and Darkrai having the cosmic type kind of binds them a little bit more as a duo, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with most of these. Like,
yeah,
these could all be from space and make a lot of sense. I mean, maybe the Slowkings are a little weird, but
I'll go back to that. The rest of the extraterrestrial ones are. We got Baltoy here. We got the Beldum line, right? Again, these these really do just make perfect sense. We got Dialga here, Giratina, Arceus, Unknown. Shout out to Unknown. Normal cosmic type is sick. Palkia's here, Water Cosmic, and then you got the Staryu line. Again, a Pokemon that is always called out to space. Absolutely needs to give it a cosmic type. Those are all the ones that I kind of agree with right off the bat because they have this mysterious thing around them. But there are a couple here, like you said, Slowking. It has intelligence, but I do not think it needs the cosmic type.
Space intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even Palkia, like, I get it, like, because time and space, but we're not talking about that kind of space. So I don't know. Maybe it's not the most, I'm just thinking about it. But yeah, they are
not true. It's true. We got like Ledian is here as Bug Cosmic. Maybe because of the stars or whatever, but like there's no really like in lore reason for why Ledian should be like it's not a space traveling Pokemon. It's just a ladybug.
Yeah.
Same thing with
I get why, and it would be cool though. It would be cool. It would spice it up.
It's the same thing with the Dottler line, Like it is super smart, but I think that's why the Psychic type works.
Dottler line makes sense to me because of the whole like UFO. Yeah. It's like, but I would really do it for the Gigantamax, and that's it.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that is cool. It gives it a little bit of a personality there. I guess Gothitelle in that line. I guess that could make sense to me.
Yeah. For
that Pokemon to receive the cosmic typing.
Yeah, it's a little less, but yeah.
I could see it, right? But yeah, honestly, all these just feel really, really good. Even the ones that are a little bit shaky, I'm like, no, they're probably from outer space. Darkrai and Cresselia do not feel like they're from our world. I mean, they're not. They're from dreams, essentially, right? Or right. Like that's the idea. But they feel like space traveling Pokemon. Same thing with the Sinnoh Legends.
Yeah, that's the thing is like they feel cosmic in general.
Yeah,
because it's such a like god tier type kind of idea.
Your favorite Paradox Pokemon, Iron Jugular, is here. What do you think about that?
I think it doesn't really make sense, but I would like it. You know what I mean? Like, just give it something else. I think its typing is its weakest point to me. But, so, like, I don't know why it would be cosmic other than, like, it kind of looks it, but, yeah.
And then we have... No, that's it. That's the rest of them. I don't know. I just look at this type, and I think it's just so good. So, basically... The cosmic type would be offensive. Sharon thinks the cosmic type would be effective against fairy. It'd be effective against flying, and it'd be super effective against dark. But it would be weak to poison, ghost, and dragon. And that's actually kind of cool. I guess I feel like I look at some of these types also. A lot of other people say a new type wouldn't make sense because, like, we don't need, like, there's no, like, meta need for a new typing, right? There's nothing that's like overpowered. But I think there's a lot of types that are underpowered, and by adding a new type, you can give a lot of usage to those underappreciated types.
We need bug type and ice type justice, basically.
No, totally.
That's what it would be for.
Because think of even poison type, you know?
Yeah.
Ice type is super underrated. Yeah. I feel like it is. So all of a new type could give value to all of those, forgotten typings. Absolutely. If you want to support, if you want your name to be read, you can join on Patreon or YouTube. There's a link in the description right now to either one of your preferences. At the mythical tier or higher, you get your name read on the show. But every other, no. At the $5 tier, just $5, $5 gets you access to so much. Not only are you going to get access to the bonus episode, which is going to be on Patreon or on YouTube, but you're also going to get access to every other exclusive piece of content that we put out. There's probably like 100 hours of us. That
library is getting big.
It's getting so big. There's gameplay VODs, there's live stream VODs, there's exclusive interviews, exclusive conversations.
Soul ate an octopus.
That's what is our first episode, I think? Second episode?
Such an old one, but
yeah. And you also get access to the Discord, and in the secret Discord, this is like the covenant, the secret Discord. You get into the secret Discord. There's over 200 trainers, exclusive members in that Discord. There's other creators in the Discord. Toby and Loxton are in that Discord, for example. But you in the Discord is how you that's how you can, I guess, Lumi, you kind of run the Discord a little bit more than me, but in the Discord you get access to the Battle League. You also can join in on the live call-in show that we're actually doing, but you also get 10% off merch at our merch stores. All right, next up, and finally, we have the rubber type. This is hilarious. So, I love Adept Sharon for including and talking so much about the rubber type. Again, I think to exemplify a lot of these typings, right, you need to pick something that's visual, that's kind of fun, something you can imagine in your mind. And it can be silly. Grass type is silly, right? Flying type might as well be called the bird type, right? I think there's even fairy is a little bit, silly. You think of like a little pixie, you know what I'm saying? So the rubber type in my mind, I've talked to Sharon about this, is anything that's stretchy, anything that is also maybe has unnatural characteristics or artificial characteristics, but really stretchy vines, anything like that. This is a physical attribute type, like flying type, like bug type, right? So on the surface, rubber seems ridiculous because you're like, what is that? Right? Yeah. And I know you're thinking that, Soul.
I'm just waiting.
But I think it's kind of fun. I think it would be a fun addition.
It would
be, say your piece.
No, it would be fun, but at the same time, it's just kind of dumb to me. I maybe it's the name that gets me like turned off by it, but I just don't see a need. I could see like an artificial type that could be cool and make it more sense. Like, but I don't want to say plastic or rubber. Like those words are just like not great to me, and I just don't see a need for this type at all. Like we don't have enough Pokemon for me to be like, we need this in any way.
That makes sense. If I'm looking at this list, a lot of these Pokemon are so silly and they are stretchy and they're a little bit goofy, and they basically just like group together a bunch of like stretchy Pokemon with like weird appendages and was like, this could be a new type. Because a type we didn't even talk about is the artificial type that you mentioned, and that would be, or like a digital type is probably a better way to say it, and that would be Pokemon.
Artificial could be different as well. Like so. On this list, we have Trubbish and Garbodor. Yeah. Like those could be an artificial type of Pokemon and not have to do with digital at all. So like digital could be like its own thing completely.
Totally.
For me, it's like I can see the mollusk side of this. So like any of the Gumi and Gudra lines, like a lot of them, I can see that for rubber. I can also see Spidops a lot because of webbing.
Which is fun. I think that's kind of smart. Yeah. And again, the whole point of a new type is to make the other, like old Pokemon and new Pokemon, more interesting, and to be able to have a new framework that you can, that Game Freak can design Pokemon within.
I see that, but I just don't see like such a need to be like, Spidops needs the rubber type because of web. Like it would be like one. It should get something, and it would just be like one Pokemon in like a group. Like you wouldn't need it. I guess Grumpig would be a good one too because of the spring.
The spring tail. So okay, let's go through this quick. Rubber is offensive against electric, and I think that's because like rubber, what is it? It's not conductive, or electricity can't go through rubber. Rubber is effective against water because it resists water can't pass through rubber.
I would say this would be the biggest reason for this typing to exist. Would be like be like what's the word? It can't affect electric types or whatever. Immune.
Immunity. So and rubber is also super effective against poison, which again, it's like it's keeping anything. I think of like sealants or whatever. I don't know. And then rubber is weak to fire, it's weak to ice, it's weak to steel, and it's weak to dark. And there's a bunch of resistances and not very effective moves that you can see on the screen. Think about moves like lick, bind, wrap, constrict, body slam, ring out, power whip, right? I mean, power whip's fine as a grass type move, but I can see it. Stockpile, swallow, spit up. Like I get it. So let's go through this list. Ditto.
I don't get it.
Lick a tongue because of its tail, right? Ditto is stretchy. You got Shellos. You got Shelmet. Again, very kind of a stretchy Pokemon. You got, what is it? Why not? And Wobbuffet. The Goomy line, all of them would get the rubber type, which I guess it's just mono dragon, so it's not really like hurting its existing typing, but
no, yeah.
Then you got what's this guy called? This new Earthworm is what it's called. I was gonna say, what's this new Earthworm? It's called Earthworm.
Close.
Tangela is kind of a fun one, right?
That kind of makes sense. That would kind of make sense.
I like it. Like, you just gotta like think about it a little bit, and then you're like, okay, if this existed, I guess I'd be fine with it. But also I think it's a little bit goofier, so it's also not a lot of people's like go-to type.
Yeah.
We got Gulpin, and we got Pyukumuku. There's oh my gosh, just reading off all these names, I know these Pokemon. Yes, Shuckle. I know these Pokemon. I've seen the comments where it's like, Dusty doesn't even know all these Pokemon's names. How despicable. And I'm like, I know the names. I'm just rattling them off.
That's okay. I don't know the types well, so there you go.
I know the names. Like, but yeah, switching between them all is. I said Pyukumuku without stuttering. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Every now and then your brain just like goes like.
Yeah, it's just a little brain fart. That's all it is.
Yeah.
The Weeping Bell line, Toadscrew line. You got the Carnivine line. I kind of like here we got Superior getting the rubber type with its long body. Like a lot of the snakes would have the rubber type.
I'm not about that.
No,
no, it doesn't make any sense to me. They're just snakes. So
yeah.
If you could get a snake and pull it like this and see what happens.
Yeah, but it's like flipping it. Like a lot of the Pokemon will flip their tails like a whip almost. So I don't know. I think you made a good point about Spidops. That's kind of cool. We got Grimer here, Trubbish, Tentacool. You get the Ekans line again. It's a snake. The gooiness of a Solosis makes sense. Grumpig makes sense. More snakes with Sandaconda. This one's cool. You got Phanpy and Donphan, which do roll up like a wheel, like a tire, which literally would be rubber. So that's kind of cool. I can see that.
Yeah.
And then Clobopus, Octillery with its tentacles. Wiglet is here, water rubber type. And then you got listen, I don't want to be eating any. If there's rubber in my sushi,
but
that's getting a bad rating.
This is actually funny though, because one of them is called the stretchy form.
It is, yeah.
So
yeah, and maybe that's what inspired this. And then you got Laleep and Electros and Bellybolt. It's gooey. There's Xurkitree, Guzzlord. Oh, this is kind of cool. Meltan and Melmetal are here. I can see that.
Yeah, but they're like literally liquid metal. You know, they're not really rubber.
And then
yeah,
and then you got Fortress,
you know
or not Fortress, Ferrothorn.
As you were saying it, I was like, I don't even remember the name of this. So there you go.
I got it.
You did.
And I guess the whole point of what I wanted to talk about today was just that, like, I think there's a lot of Pokemon that are either. It's not that they're necessarily there. Listen, there are some Pokemon that are mistyped, but I think more often there are Pokemon that like are not fully represented by how they could be represented. You know, if you look at Dex entries, you're going to be missing some of those attributes. That's all it is, right? And I think it's just so much fun to think about the future of Pokemon. Specifically, we're right on the heels of Generation 10. Yeah. Like, they could do some really big stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm hoping to do a podcast very soon detailing all of like the mechanical changes that we'd like to see, like actual gameplay elements that we'd actually like to see in Generation 10. I'm looking forward to that, and I think this is a really big thing for me. I think this is really cool.
I love it.
Listen, if you like this, we did a video. This is kind of a redux of an older video that we did with Lumi about 2 years ago. If you want to check that out, we'll put the link in the description. It might also be at the end card. But yeah, Pokemon types. I think there's a lot more things that they could introduce to the series to just kind of freshen up some of these older designs. So that's how I'm feeling.
I agree. Maybe not rubber type, but I.
If there's one that they made from this, which one would you want?
The one I want the most, I always want to say light type, but I think sound type is the one that makes the most sense.
It really does.
So I think I'd go sound type.
Yeah, I think I would choose cosmic only because the sound type would remove a lot of types that already make sense, but the sound type does make the most sense. But I think cosmic would also be really cool because that's something that I would honestly want to see in like a future generation or a game. Like they've explored space travel on Pokemon Earth, but what if we go into space?
Yeah, if they did a space region, then that would make the most sense.
That would be so cool.
New space region with a cosmic type.
Please, bro. That's what I want to see the most. But anyways, if you want to support the podcast, go into the description. There are 2 links. You can make the decision. You can either support on Patreon or you can support on YouTube. $5 gets you into the door. You're not only going to be supporting the production of all these awesome podcasts, of our live streams, but you're going to be able to get access to all of the paywalled content that we've been making for the last 2-3 years. We have exclusive interviews with some of your favorite creators. We have gameplay VODs. We have just live streams, general live streams that are there only for you guys who support. There's also secret power episodes. There's so much stuff. If you want more hidden power content, subscribe if you're new, but also $5 on Patreon or YouTube gets you into the door for all of that extra content, and you can join the Discord. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you the next time.
Bye.
See you guys.